Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy here, the combat consultant, of course, the soundboard guy, Jacob Koopman. This is Gloves Up, and I wanted to talk about my thoughts, kind of break down the upcoming fight between Tommy Fury and Jake Paul. I did a video, maybe it was 3 or 4 videos ago, detailing why I thought that this fight didn't really need to happen and how I thought it played into the influencer boxing scene. But nonetheless, I figured I'd do my due diligence as an analyst into the nuts and bolts of this type of matchup. So let's get into it. It's pretty simple for this one. Listen, I just watched Tommy Fury's most recent fight where Jake Paul was there actually talking crap on commentary to him. And it looked as though there were a number of reasons why Tommy Fury is not going to win this fight. Seems to be that he's going to be destined to lose, which is weird because he's a Fury, right? He's under that tutelage, he's under that name. So you figured he'd have more boxing ability than just the seemingly small arsenal and slow-moving offense that he has right now. You figure that his brother, his father, would have just rubbed off on him at all. I know they spar together. I don't know if he's sandbagging for the Jake Paul fight. Maybe he comes in, maybe he looks completely different. But from his most recent performance, this is the best indication I can give you for how the fight is going to play out. So one thing I noticed just from a cursory glance is that he really likes to use his jab. And while that's not usually a bad thing, we talked actually in the previous video, which was me analyzing Vidal Riley's performance, that if a fighter can use a jab in a really good way to set up his offense and stay defensively sound, then that's a great tool. And it's a tool that I think every fighter should develop. So I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying when I say that the jab for Tommy Fury kind of hurts him. He uses it in a way in which you get the sense that he doesn't really know kind of what else to throw or when. Right. And I know that he is a pro, and I know that I don't box. I've been coming under a lot of fire recently about me sitting here in front of a camera talking about something that I've never done. And for all those people, I'd say, hey, listen, I'm training. I've been sparring. I'm just trying to learn more about the sport. But from what I can see, listen, Tommy Fury, he pokes out that jab not as a tool to set things up, but as a tool to kind of buy himself time. It's good if your opponent is pushing, is pressing the action, because then you can use that to kind of stave him off and set your own stuff up. But when Tommy throws it, I see a lot of the times that that's all that he throws. It's jab, jab, double jab, triple jab, 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 step back, do a little crowd fair, right? Come back in, jab, 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 jab. There's not much behind it, if not anything at all. And the way that Jake operates, I'm not saying he's this god tier boxer that can never be touched, because he's been touched. And of course, the Anderson Silva fight was the biggest test of his career, and Anderson Silva's already an old man. So Jake definitely has holes in his armor, but you see the way Tommy Fury moves. He's not very agile. If he throws that jab out there one too many times, guess what Jake's going to do? If it's a lazy jab, which is what we call someone that just kind of relies on the jab and is not throwing anything behind it, Jake's going to come over the top with a huge right. And Jake has power, and that's not going to be good for Tommy. I see in there, Tommy doesn't utilize footwork the best, so he's slow, right? He kind of walks with his shots. He doesn't stay on the balls of his feet. He seems a little bit timid to kind of get in there and actually trade in the pocket, which may serve him well in this fight against Jake, being that you don't want to stay in there with Jake for a prolonged period of time. You risk getting knocked out. But all of this would be great if Tommy, again, had the arsenal to supplement this type of style that he has, right? Because I could see Tommy being a great tactician, just like his father, if he was a little bit more creative, dynamic, versatile, if he had more than just a jab and I'd say like a cross. The only time I see him really close in on guys, I watched a compilation of his 4 knockouts from about 2 years ago, is when he has guys seriously hurt. That's when you start to see him open up. So I just have my questions about why this fight was being made. It seems to be the same kind of thing with Joe Fournier, actually, in KSI, is that Tommy Fury is this pro guy. He has the name. I'm not a guy that thinks he's the most marketable person in the world. I don't really care about Tommy Fury, whether he's fighting or not, but I guess for the scene, he's a sort of big name. But you take a look at his actual ability and his movement and his IQ, there's not a lot there, man. And he had a boring fight. Like, his last fight was pretty boring. Jake is the much more, in my personal opinion, exciting fighter. He might edge Tommy out in terms of the arsenal that he has at his disposal. Maybe not in technicality, because one thing I will say about Tommy Fury is he stays tight, a little bit too tight sometimes. But it seems like he's missing that component to his game where Jake can really take advantage of that. That killer instinct that Jake has. I don't see that out of Tommy. And I think if Jake wants to close the distance and get Tommy on the back foot, I don't know if he's necessarily going to have enough to kind of answer the door there or answer the bell when Jake comes a knocking. If you want my official prediction for this fight, I think that Jake has got it via knockout. I don't want to ever say that any of these fights are set up for Jake's favor, but there is clearly a script of guys that he's taking on so that he has this, what looks like more of a natural progression without there being some, and there already are some accusation of this being fixed, without people getting too hip to the fact that he's being a little bit selective. But with that, that's been the episode for today. Thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed, subscribe, turn on that notifications bell. So every time something new comes out, something new happens, I'll be covering it on this channel. I do MMA, I do YouTube boxing, regular boxing, really anything in the combat sports world that's of note that I want to talk about. So if you are interested, give my videos a watch and subscribe. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.